Earlier in this course, we've already touched on data ownership. In this video, we're going to take another look at it in light of data privacy. Depending on who collects and manages the data, there are different restrictions and regulations. Of course, as a consumer, you're always the owner of your data. But you can engage in a relationship with a publisher or an advertiser where you allow them to use your data. As we saw earlier in this course, the parties that you allow to collect and store your data fall into three different groups, depending on how direct your relationship is with them: first party, second party, or third party. First party data is the data a company receives from the people it's interacting with directly. These people could be customers, visitors to the website, or followers on social media. For example, if you're using a social media platform and you click on an ad for pizza, the platform may infer that you're interested in pizza. That information is considered first-party data that the social media platform is now managing about you. With first-party data, there is an implicit or explicit agreement between the consumer and the data receiving company that it can use your data. Of course, with certain restrictions, as we saw earlier. Second-party data consists of the same type of data as the first-party data, but in this case, the data has been passed on to a second party, often a trusted partner of the first party. Continuing the metaphor, if the social media platform you signed up for earlier gives information to a partner, that partner company also knows that you like pizza. They now both manage that data about you. In this scenario, ideally, the partner is trustworthy and responsible with the data that was passed on from the first-party social media platform. And it's the responsibility of the first party to ensure that the second party won't misuse your data. If not, the repercussions would involve both parties, the first and the second party. The final bucket that personal data can fall into is third-party data. Third-party data is collected by a company or entity that doesn't have a clear relationship with the company a person is interacting with, or the first party. Third parties may track a person's behavior across sites, for instance, using browser cookies, which we call third-party cookies. Information gathered this way can be bundled together to create a profile about a person that can then be sold to advertisers. Using our metaphor one more time, if a third party tracks your behavior across the web, they might learn about your interest in pizza, even if you didn't specifically give that information to them. This type of information gathered is the kind that makes consumers most uncomfortable. Since people don't have an explicit agreement with these third parties that allows them to collect and store this information, third-party data tracking often raises privacy concerns. As a result, several browsers block third-party cookies to help limit this kind of data collection. It's important that all parts of the advertising ecosystem, first, second, or third parties, set and maintain high privacy standards. That's the only way that a consumer can trust and have confidence that their information is being handled appropriately. Now you know more about how personal data is collected and managed, but remember, the person who owns the data is always the consumer. In the next lesson, we're going to learn more about the protections and regulations that are in place to safeguard consumers' data. I'll see you there.